All right. Hey, everybody. Eric Martin with Keller Williams Realty back here at Corey Scott again for our monthly little mortgage meeting we have here. But before we kind of get into what I wanted to discuss, um, I was just telling Corey beforehand, you may not know, but something came across one of my Facebook group feeds the other day, and they were saying that if you had tried buying a house in 1971 and you waited for mortgage rates to drop, you would have waited 22 years for mortgage rates to drop down, either equal or below 1971. So it would have been like 1993, and home prices would have quadrupled. And so,
Only quadruple though? I feel like it'd be more than that, honestly.
yeah, right, exactly. But it came across, and I was like thinking, I'm like, this is like so insane because they've waited, and waited and waited, and we're kind of like in the same segue right now where people are going to wait. It's like, how long are you going to wait? But to kind of get into what our topic that we want to get into today with you was, it's going to be kind of the same waiting game, but it's more so with, um, I have a bunch of people, and I'm sure you've seen it, that don't qualify for mortgages because of their credit score or whatever they may have hanging around that's dangling out there to not let
Yeah.
them do that. So in your past experiences, what have you seen that somebody can do to either rebuild or get their
Yeah.
credit score up in a faster, easier way, if you will?
Sure.
I don't know if I'm like kind of saying that
Yeah.
correctly, but to get the most bang for their buck
Yeah.
without just inching along with doing the wrong things.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I would say right now you're right on though. We're seeing more like 2, 3 years ago, people that didn't have great credit that kind of knew that weren't even applying at that point because they knew the market was too crazy. Now we're seeing some more of the credit, not challenge, but people that don't have quite the established credit trade lines that we saw historically over the last couple of years. So a couple of things to help with credit scores is always make your payments on time, right? Most important part. They look at your ability to repay, and the biggest indicator is your past history. Like, have you paid your other engagements on time? Number one piece of it. The second part of it is going to be credit utilization. So if you have a credit card, and say you have one credit card is $1,000 limit, and you revolve a balance of $500, you're using 50% of your utilization, right? They want to see utilizations under 30% for the top tier scores. I had a client last week that had 3 credit cards. There was like 4,000, 3,000, and 1,500. All of them are maxed out, like just at the limit. So their scores are on the lower side, but it's because their utilization is like 99.9%, right? Quick tip is like they just pay that down to under 50% or so, they can actually have those scores jump substantially within just a month. So it can happen that fast, which is awesome.
Right.
Um, the third tip here, I'd say, would be the length of history. So a lot of kids, people coming out of college without a lot of credit history, they have like one trade line. If you have one trade line and you mess up on one payment, something happens, late charge, whatever, it's a bigger impact on your credit versus having an established historical trade lines that are longer in nature and duration. So that way, if you have one little mess up or something happens, it's not as big of an impact on your overall credit profile. If that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. And, it kind of reverts back to something my dad did with my aunt when they were younger, was because she didn't have any credit. But, that was back in the 70s and stuff where they had, you could go to a place and get a loan. And he said, just take the loan money, put it in the bank or put it on the side and just take that loan money and just pay them back. Like,
Mhm.
don't use it, don't spend it, just pay them back, and then you'll be able to build a credit, and you're just utilizing their money to pay them
Yeah.
back until you can get a car or whatever. You
That's
know,
still a tip. We still have clients do that. It's called a secured loan. Like a lot of people that they'll give them $500 and they'll give them a $500 credit card or a secured loan. They make their payments back and it reports on their credit, which is important.
yeah,
That's still a great tip.
yeah, So, essentially, what I guess what I'm hearing, just to kind of, re go over it again, is that you know make sure that your lines are down, under a certain percentage.
Hmm.
And if you're kind of new to the game, grow your credit history, but grow it smart in a
Yeah.
way. You
Hmm.
know, um, again, I know, and this is probably an ongoing thing. Also, is that there's people who are making their payments on time, like myself, who was doing it when I was younger, trying to get consolidation loans, and the banks are like, well, you know, your debt to ratio is too high. Your payment history is great, but it's like, if your payment history is great, you know, why can't you just give me the loan? Because if I'm making all these payments, I'm covering it all. You're going to be paying less to them. So it was just kind of odd that, you know, like,
Yeah.
you know, you're able to make these payments, and, you know, nobody wants to kind of like help you out in the end, you know, by, you know, consolidating and get you out of that debt quicker, or be able to raise your scores. So, but yeah, so, you know, I think that's, you know, pretty much it with that. I mean,
Yeah.
is there any other, you know, like if they were high in debt, like with the credit cards, like, is there certain ones to pay off sooner, or is it just that,
Yeah.
is it that debt line?
I would say it's the utilization overall is what they look at. You can have like 5 different credit cards. If one is 0 and the other 4 are maxed out, they average it up. So it's the
Okay.
overall utilization. In general, though, when we're consulting clients, we'll see what the different rates are on them and give them a plan on like paying those down in regards to which one makes the most sense financially, that they'll pay the less interest on over the term, or more interest on, to get that paid off quicker. I would say another tip too is using credit monitoring service like Credit Karma, which I hate saying that, but it's good to see if you're going up or down. They have their own algorithms, they have their own systems to analyze credit, but it's good to know if you're trending the right direction. So if you just want to keep an eye on things and make sure nothing shady is happening on your credit, it's good to check it. It updates like once a week, I think. But that way you'll know a ballpark what way you're going. The scores are
Yeah.
never accurate. It's 20 to 40 to 60 points off from what we see when you pull credit, but it's a good indicator at least.
Right, exactly. You know, I know, like myself, I have it, and you know, you always get an email, oh, you're doing this, you're doing that, you're going good, you're doing bad. But like you said, just for like their own purpose, without having to pull credit all the time, and it doesn't count against your credit score, correct?
Exactly.
So,
Not correct. Yeah.
you know, so that's huge. You know, but I think you can do one free pull per year, right?
Yeah. So you can go to like it's myfreeannualcreditreport.com, and then you can do one free pull for each credit bureau. So you can have 3 pulls throughout the year. And I think you have to pay for your score though. So you can get your credit report free, but it's like $8 or $10 for your credit score.
Right. And that's also good though, because you can find out if anybody's been using something on your name or whatever that's, you know, might possibly hurt you, you know,
All
down
the
the road.
data breaches we've had recently, man, like there's been so many data breaches the last like 6 months we've seen out there. So it's a scary time.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So, well, I know you got some jogging to do later on at school with your daughters there. So have fun with that. Thanks for coming back on, and we'll have you back on next month with another topic. And in the meantime, if anybody has any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to myself. I'll have Corey's information on the end, and we'll be able to help you out with whatever you need. All right. So thanks again, Corey, and have a great weekend. Thanks.